Reinvention is the key to overcome new challenges and keep growing. Welcome to South Summit 2020. A new networking platform with a revolutionary live TV format to access and connect from any device, anytime, and anywhere. Join South Summit 2020 and multiply your business opportunities.
Hello everybody, it is with great pleasure that I get to present to you today this very special track, which is investment and ecosystem. Two pillars of what South Summit is all about. South Summit is a global platform for making connections. We cover all sectors, as you can see from the 9+ verticals in our startup competition. It is a multi-country environment with 120 countries represented here today over the 3 days. All relevant players are here: corporates, startups, investors, public institutions, universities, and experts. This is why this track is like no other. This is not a vertical, this is a transversal track talking about investment and ecosystem. So we are delighted for you all to be with us here today, and we have an exciting program of speakers and experts coming through. So to kick us off, I am thrilled to introduce our opening keynote speaker for this track. This individual has a significant track record in the area of entrepreneurship, having built and exited a big data and artificial intelligence company. And now we are so proud that she is dedicating her time and effort as the Secretary of State for Digitalization and Artificial Intelligence here in Spain. It is my great pleasure to introduce our keynote today, Carmen Artigas. Carmen, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Liz, very much. And also thanks to the organization of South Summit for inviting me and introduce the next panel around investment, innovation, and ecosystem. From the government of Spain, we realize of the crucial importance that investment in startups and digital companies will have in our economic recovery. And this is why we will devote part of the European Recovery Funds to promote and encourage investment in digital companies and in startups in Spain. And we will take a set of reforms to make Spain attractive for foreign investment. I want to highlight 3 measurements we're going to tackle and that are included in our digital agenda, España Digital 2025. 1, we will remove administrative burdens and roadblocks for foreign investment in venture capital and angel investors in Spain. Second, we will develop a series of plans and initiatives to attract global talent, and with a special focus of women entrepreneurs and women professionals. And third, we will establish new financing tools, as we are aware that one of the most important gaps we need to cover is to have access to funding for scale-ups, and in special in those sectors that we consider disruptive technologies and deep tech. And that I mean artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, high-performance computers, and others. In this sense, we're already working with the National Institute of Investment, ICO, whose president will participate also in the next panel. And we have already allocated 500 million euros to create a new venture capital private and public fund that we expect to match one-on-one with the private sector, that will be especially devoted for scale-ups in the areas of AI, deep learning, or new technologies. We are convinced that Spain can be the best environment to attract entrepreneurs, talent, and investors globally. We have the best conditions to live and work, as we have already stated during the pandemic, where Spain has been one of the most attractive places for teleworkers. So we are convinced that with all this set of reforms, with all these new strategies and tools, we will make Spain attractive for doing business. Thank you very much. We encourage you for a very vibrant discussion and investment, and we will take notes of all your suggestions. Thank you very much.
And now we're going to hear from Jose Carlos Garcia de Quevedo, Executive Chairman at ICO. Jose, we know that ECO has been supporting entrepreneur and SMEs for a long time in their effort to grow and innovate. Can you tell us more about the initiative ECO is undertaking in 2020 and specifically in this new era?
Hi, yes, thank you, Liz. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me once again to be part of the South Summit. I've been attending this event since it was born in 2012, and it's for me a pleasure to be here today. Let me focus on what we have been doing from ECO and Axis very recently for the entrepreneur startup ecosystem in Spain. Firstly, I wanted to mention that the effects of COVID have confronted us with new scenario and new challenge for the entire international and of course Spain business community that it will imply for the self-employed and medium-sized and small companies. We have been developing a specific solution with the liquidity guarantee line implemented more than 100 billion euros guarantees through the banking system for all the sectors. And we have very recently also put in place the new initiative of 40 billion euros guarantee for investments and resuming activity for all kinds of companies, including entrepreneurs. But I will prefer to focus today in the private equity venture capital instrument that ECO through its affiliate Axis have. And here we would like to mention above all two main initiatives we have already implemented and one who is coming. Firstly, Fondico Global. As you are aware, Fondico Global invests in private equity in first stage, venture capital, incubation, transfer of technology. We have launched the 13th call, the tender for more than 420 million euros, and last September we were assessing the 40 funds who were presented in the call. Secondly, we have approved 2.5 billion, 2,500 million euros new calls for the next 5 years for Fondico Global. And this we have been implementing more amount, more flexible to support sustainability and digital transformation, as well as to ease financial conditions and investment conditions for the entrepreneur and startup. Secondly, I would like to refer to Fondico SME, small and medium-sized company, Fondico PYME, where we have implemented a new initiative. One of them was the COVID entrepreneur initiative to ease the financial conditions for that. Finally, I would like to be at your disposal and all of the public here, and thank you very much for your attention. It has been a pleasure to be here today with you, Liz, and everybody.
Jose Carlos, thank you so much. It's wonderful to hear a good news story that ECO and Axis are going to continue to support the ecosystem as they have been doing in recent years. Thank you, Jose Carlos. It is a great pleasure that I get to introduce our next speaker. This individual is a great friend of South Summit, an absolute mover and shaker in the startup ecosystem here in Spain. Our next speaker is Javier Mejías, the Startup Program Director at Bankinter Innovation Foundation, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the facts and findings of the investment trends in Spain for 2020. Javier, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Liz. And good day. Well, the Startup Observatory of the Bankinter Innovation Foundation, we have created an extensive database to track the startup and investment activity of the Spanish ecosystem. And this year we have some interesting insights that we'd like to share with you. First, what is, I would say, quite shocking is, even though we have suffered a really strong health crisis, the investment volume is just slightly lower than the previous year, which is, I would say, quite good news. And taking into account that the underlying health of the ecosystem is really good, I think there are some good news I want to share with you. Well, the first one, as you can see here, is that the number of deals closed this year is all-time record high in the Spanish investment ecosystem. And these years are mostly focused on the range from seed to Series B. We have a huge spike in the Series A, which I think it's quite interesting, at 71% more than the previous year, and also a lower spike on the seed stage, which is a 32% increase compared to the last year. I think that's really good news because it really implies that some of these investment operations, these companies, will evolve to become larger companies and larger investment operations that probably will foster the ecosystem. Regarding the later stages, which is Series C and growth stages, well, you can see the startups at these stages have taken a big toll because there are fewer rounds and they take longer to close. And probably this decrease of 66% will be the reason that the amount of money invested in the ecosystem is lower. Regarding the role of the VC foreign investors in the ecosystem, well, what we can see is that they usually take place or invest in the later stages. And what we're seeing here is that they do account for 18% of their rounds, but 40% of the investment. And this is something that has changed a bit because the last year it was like 50% or so. Regarding the investment type, one of the interesting things here is that we see a lot of corporate investment. As you can see, the corporate investment has grown until 60%, sorry. And also the crowdfunding is picking up partly to cover the VC decline. Regarding the cities, well, as you can see, Barcelona is still the #1 hub in Spain, but is closely followed this year by Madrid, who is taking right now almost the second place, and also Valencia, who is one of the top ecosystem and is growing a lot. And finally, regarding the industries, what we are seeing is that fintech is still the #1 industry in the ecosystem, but it's closely followed by business and productivity. And as you can see, favored by the corona situation, some sectors like health and well-being are really picking up. And also, of course, gaming is also benefit by this trend. And thank you.
Javier, thank you so much. Amazing to see that the VCs are still supporting their later stage companies through this crisis. And this leads me right to our next guest, who is Aquilino Peña. He is founder of Kibo Ventures, an important VC firm here based out of Madrid, and president of Ascri. Aquilino is going to talk a little bit about how Ascri is supporting the venture capital industry here in Spain and how we can all think about investing more responsibly. Aquilino, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you, Maria, and the South Summit crew for organizing all this and this great event of innovation, entrepreneurship, and collaboration between corporations and startups. And congratulations on being so entrepreneurial in changing your format from one year to the other. I am Aquilino Peña, and as Liz said, I am the founding partner of Kibo Ventures, an early-stage venture capital firm, and the chairman of Ascri, the Spanish Venture Capital and Private Equity Association. We have 230 members, including fund managers, LPs, and advisors. And our data shows that Spain is a great place to invest. We've been reaching record levels of investment in Spanish company. For example, last year, in 2019, 8.5 billion were invested in over 800 companies in Spain. In terms of startups, they've also reached record levels of 1 billion. And the data of the first half of the year shows that we will reach similar level for this year. In Ascri, we do believe that we have to do well while doing good, and we also believe that our activities, our investment activities, must have a profound impact in the communities where we invest. We have several studies that shows that our companies invested by private equity and venture capital firms provide more employment, more taxes, more growth in the companies and more profits. So that's all good. But I think that's not enough. And as ASCRI, we are very committed to the 2030 agenda and to activate initiatives that support the Sustainable Development Goals. As such, we've been admitted as a partner of the United Nations Global Compact. Today, we want to have a discussion on this panel on what's important for us, which is how to introduce ESG principles within both the investment process of our fund managers and the activities of portfolio companies. That's something that we've been doing for a few years now, and we will have some members of ASCRI talking about how they do that and how to differentiate ESG versus impact. So thanks very much for attending this panel, and thank you, Maria, for moderating it, and again, thanks to South Summit. Enjoy it. Thank you.
And that brings us nicely to our next conversation, Investment Today, where we will be talking about responsible investing. It is important to get a nice financial return when investing, but even more important to think carefully and thoughtfully about where we are investing. This next conversation considers investments from a social impact and an environmental perspective, and I am thrilled to welcome to the stage Maria Meri del Val, partner at Atalea Partners, who's going to facilitate this conversation. Thank you, Maria. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. So we are here today to talk about responsible investing. Responsible investing is accelerating into the mainstream. And how do we see this? Well, in the past 9 months in Spain, almost 50% of venture capital firms have actually signed up to the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investing. Probably you've also seen in the news that responsible investing is now more important than ever. Now, what are the concepts behind responsible investing? And if you're an investor or an entrepreneur that are intrigued or maybe actually want to purposely take a peek or take a look into positive social and environmental impact, what are the concepts you should understand? And that's what we're going to explain here today. Now, 2 key concepts I would really like you to understand clearly, which are very different. ESG. ESG is about processes. It is about how you embed environmental, social, and governance factors within your investment process, and also within your company's strategy. This generates value, but also preserves value. And let me give you an example. For example, cybersecurity is really important for tech firms. For social factors, you will have for fintech, for example, consumer protection. And finally, environmental factors are really important for agri-tech or medtech. Now, we have here today 3 panelists that are going to help us understand the concept and the difference with impact investing. Impact investing is about purpose. It is a dedicated investment strategy, and many think that it will actually become a different asset class. As you see, these are 2 different concepts because impact investing seeks positive returns together with a positive environmental or social impact. Both of them actually contribute to a better world. We have here today with us the pleasure of having Cyril Guiffet, who is the head of social impact at the European Investment Fund. The IEF, as you all know, is the most important institutional investor in Europe and has reshaped the world of how investing is done because of its strong commitment to impact investing. Now, Cyril, in your view, what is the difference between ESG and impact investing, and what correlation do you find between impact and investment returns when talking about responsible investing?
Thank you for the very kind introduction, Maria. That's a nice way to be introduced, obviously. So I'm glad to join the panel today on such important matters and strategic matters indeed, but also matters that need to be addressed carefully because these are trendy topics. So obviously this involves a whole positive consequences, being active on a segment that is gaining traction also in the public, but also requires to be very cautious around defining what we mean by impact investing, and defining what is, let's say, a relevant, sound impact investing strategy. So to your question, in my view, ESG is very much about reporting and transparency, meaning that with ESG standards and by complying with globally acknowledged or globally recognized standards such as the PRIs that you referred to earlier in your introduction, are crucial to make sure or to provide transparency in the investment industry, meaning that next to financial metrics, investors are now also expected to display and show their non-financial metrics. And by non-financial metrics, often referring to the externalities linked to a business activity. And obviously, the negative externalities that sometimes can be generated by any economic, any social activity, actually. So that's, in my view, ESG, like an increased effort on standardizing transparency with globally recognized standards, while on the other end, impact investing differs from ESG because impact investing very much has at its core the intentionality. So with impact investing, the positive that emerge from the investment one performs is not an externality, but rather when setting up an impact business, an entrepreneur, next to the will to be successful from an entrepreneurial point of view, also has a clear will to address and solve social or environmental issues. So the intentionality, in my view, is key to differentiate ESG on the one end, that is about transparency in all the externalities that an economic activity generates, and impact investing on the other, where impact investing is actually presented and has the ambition to solve, through entrepreneurial solution, social and environmental issues.
Thank you so much, Cyril. That was a really good explanation. And we also have the honor today to have Antonio Jimenez de Córdoba, who is a partner at Seaya Ventures. Seaya was one of the first players in the venture capital arena to sign up to the UN PRI. Antonio, the question for you is, what drove Seaya to actually sign up to the PRI? What changed in the organization? What changed actually in your investment processes, and what challenges did you find in the way?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me in this very interesting panel and for giving the importance of the ESG perspective to the investment criteria. So first, a bit of background about Seaya. We're not impact investors, but we have taken into account all the ESG, all the impact of our investments in our criteria. So we invest with this purpose, and we only invest in companies that have a positive impact into society. So having that strategy in mind, we have always had ESG in a way of investments. So we look for a framework, so that's just to make more structure what we were doing in an informal way. So that's why we find PRI as the ideal framework, which we have been following for the last years. So in essence, there were no changes in our investment strategy and almost no changes in our investment processes. It was the changes that we had to follow was more reporting and giving more structure and giving more objectivity to what we were doing in an informal way. Well, on the other hand, we had some positive effects because we're now thinking and approaching our new investments with these new eyes, and it gives us a more structured way to implement those investments. And you were mentioning the challenges that we have faced in implementing the PRI, was mainly having access to the data, because having access to the data from the companies, which is a new set of data that they're not used to report to investors. But they were, when we explained what was the purpose for that kind of investments, that they were happy, and it was just a first for the first months that problem. So no major challenges on that sense.
Thank you so much, Antonio. That was a really useful audience to our answer for our audience. And we have finally here with us José Moncada, who's the managing partner of Bolsa Social. Thank you so much, José, for being with us today. You invest as an impact investor in projects and startups that actually pursue intentionally a positive impact, either environmental or social. Now, in your view, why is impact investing so important in the current environment? And also, given the audience, we have many entrepreneurs today, startuppers. What hints, what tip would you give to them if they were to pitch to you their project? And what is the correlation you actually seek between impact and financial returns?
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you very much, Maria. So why is important impact investing? Well, as mentioned, because we are facing so big challenges as a society. They were very well framed in the 17 SDGs of United Nations, but maybe we can focus on two. First of all, we have an economic model that it's demonstrated that it's not sustainable. It's no longer sustainable. So we need to look for an economy that is sustainable. And second, we see the rise of inequality. The gap between the poor and the rich is growing, and this has exacerbated with the pandemic. So we have a responsibility. So we have to we have to become aware of our responsibility as investors, and we need to think, what kind of society do we want to finance? And clearly, we need to change, and that's impact investing. Impact investing is considering going beyond the ESG, is adding to the traditional risk and return analysis the element of impact. So it's basically putting your money as an investor to finance change, to finance the transformation that we need as a society to become more sustainable and fairer. And that's why impact investing is about intentionality, about mission. You put a mission to your money. That's why, as answering to your question of what do we ask as a fund, Bolsa Social just recently launched a fund with AFI, and we are funding startups, early stage startups in the very initial stages of development, because there is where is innovation and disruption. And we're asking them, first, the entrepreneurs be mission driven. Second, to have a good business model, already demonstrated with some market validation. And then third, big ambition to grow. So that invest, grow in value, but also can grow in impact.
Thank you. It was really inspiring, and I really hope this panel on responsible investment was interesting to you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to hear from you guys. We hope you'll be back again at next year's edition. Thank you so much. Take care. Good to see you. Jose, Cyril, Antonio, thank you so much for sharing. It's wonderful to hear about the positive impact you guys are having with the investments that you're making. And our next conversation goes to the area of innovation, a topic that is very close to our hearts here at South Summit. Technology transfer, open innovation, digital transformation and collaboration are some of the themes that the next panel are going to be discussing. But before we dive into that, I'd be delighted to introduce to the stage our moderator for the session that's going to give his view. This individual is a kind friend of South Summit and a recognized successful Chief Innovation Officer for some of Spain's largest companies in the past. With my pleasure to welcome to the stage Federico Flores. Please join us. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you very much. Well, just now, technology is everywhere, it's in every process of business and in our life. You start the day looking at the smartphone, reading the news, looking the where, after the agenda, and so on. In the company working environment, you use technology for every process. Everything is being automated with robotics and IT tools. In the future, every desktop will use AI for working, giving support for each business decision. The AI will be in every business process. Blockchain for tracing, connected cars, connected with infrastructure, 3D printing for manufacturing, and so on. The future is here, and technology is the driver. Digital transformation is in our lives. Every company needs a plan to digitize itself, according with your business, the status of technology, and the future trend of business and technology. You need to establish the roadmap to change and gain differentiation and efficiency. You must consider the maturity of technology in order to plan the right plan for you. Do a plan for 3 years and start just now. Differentiation and productivity will be key for growing and internationalization. Good use of technology and innovation is the solution for that. Digital transformation is key today. Technology is changing everything. No company will survive without supporting the future with technology and innovation. Innovation must be open, not only for disruption, but also for incremental. Incremental to gain efficiency, but disruption to be different from your competitors. Startups will accelerate innovation within the companies. You must facilitate to integrate them. Look for them. Establish a proof of concept, find the business proposition, and use them, but quickly. First in the market is the issue. Eliminate internal barriers for startups in the companies. No more than a quarter to integrate startups, or not continue because there is no business case behind. Invest or make an agreement as customers. Both possibilities are better than doing nothing. Financing is not a problem for startups, so they will grow and resilience the future. They will be an important part of the game. Ecosystems have been built. You have Silicon Valley, the East Coast, Israel, Singapore, Europe, and they even will grow in Europe, Asia, and the States. Collaboration is possible. We saw that in COVID, and necessary for open innovation, and key for the future. The skills on that are relevant, and the culture will have to change. Avoid isolated works, open the space into the future, open teams, and welcome the mix of skills, scientific and humanist working together, virtual teams working from all over the world. That's the future. Innovation for resilience and future. In this session, we would like to address a unique perspective on our immediate future, applying what we've learned so far, innovation and technology, that is shaping our present and building the future. We will talk about technologies and strategies that are shaping business. So, let me introduce the panel we are going to speak with. Javier Moreno, Head of Merchant Services PayPal, Jason Marotinaden, I don't know if I'm telling your surname right, yeah, okay, and Cristina de la Peña, CEO of Synapbox, yeah, Cristina. Thank you for coming. Just a few questions for you. Jason, you work at the European Space Agency, but with a special area where you look for applications of space technology. What are your perspective, key drivers, technologies, or strategies for our future with the challenges of nowadays?
Great. Well, thank you very much, Federico, for the opportunity of speaking here. So just to let you know that the European Space Agency actually runs the world's largest space venture network, where we have about 2,000 plus businesses in the portfolio, and we've deployed over 400 million worth of euro mixed let's say, funding mixed with grants and private capital and public capital, et cetera, And really, the basis of that, for the focus for us, is really downstream. It's digital and space data. And the innovation really is happening in terms of how is space data, one, getting cheaper, and how is that cost turning space data into commodity that terrestrial businesses can actually use. And so what I mean by data, it's Earth observation data, and that's currently being used for things like ESG modeling and sustainability. You've got GPS data, which is being used for geolocation ventures, and also the communications pipe. So satellite-enabled communication channels is really becoming an innovation in terms of the cost of access to these things. And the communication data pipe, so to speak, is really driving a lot of innovation. And with those three, let's say, data types, the driver really is accessibility. Space is no longer a scary sector. Space is now encroaching on every single technical and industrial aspect or sector that we can think of. And that's really because the driver is a reduction in cost. And what that's meaning in terms of resilience is that that non-space companies now are furnishing are furnishing the space sector. And because we have all these non-space companies and also space companies also competing around the world of digital tech, it's now creating a new form of collaboration. And the new form of collaboration are creating space businesses that are obvious to us, such as the satellite providers or new generation of satellite providers and satellite manufacturers, but also the not so obvious space companies that are, as I said before, are in mobility or smart cities or oil and gas or sustainability type businesses. And the other interesting driver that we're finding in the space sector is the adoption of non-space technology. For example, cloud services, which are proving now to be the digital backbone of the digital component of the space sector. And then when we start talking about resilience again, United Nations Sustainability Goals. Interestingly, we're finding that when we couple space data with complementary tech, such as AI or deep learning or machine learning type technologies, we can take space and the space applications in new directions. And currently we are exploring what the impact of space data is on the United Nations Sustainability Goals. And interestingly, we have about 40 companies that we're supporting that are directly matched to enabling these United Nations Sustainability Goals. So for us, we're going to see resilience, not just in the data play, not just in the new actors, whether they are space or non-space, not just in the role of private capital, but also space for good, and in particular space for enabling the United Nations Sustainability Goals.
Thank you, Jason. Let's go with Javier. Javier, what is the role of SMEs and platforms such as PayPal in this transformation?
So thank you, and thank you for having me in this very special. So as you were saying at the beginning, to be honest, I think that their role is to embrace and changes the best they can. So without losing the long-term goals, of course, but each company needs to adapt their offerings to the new ways people shop, interact, relax, etc. So, for example, at PayPal, we believe that by using the right technology, all small and medium businesses will be able to help their customers to meet this challenge. We, for example, have started offering QR codes as a way of physical payment. So these small and medium enterprises can still sell in person safely. Or also we have helped a lot of small businesses to create an online shop with our product called PayPal Commerce Platform, which allow them in a few minutes to accept payments from all countries in the world with cards or even with PayPal. so that the customers have a great variety on online payments within a unique platform.
Thank you, Javier. Cristina, you are the CEO of Synapbox, and you are using AI and science to validate content creation. What do you do and explore? What could be your main insight? Maybe even recommendation in the process of building our immediate and long-term future?
Thank you very much for having me. I think that I would like to say that it's a super exciting time. If you do some research, it seems that some people are saying that we have had 10 years of technology adoption just in the last 6 months. So if you imagine that, I think that it's a great time to go through the challenges, but as well as take on the opportunities. So from our perspective, where we are trying to figure out how people is consuming and interacting with content, we see dramatic changes on how consumers are behaving right now. I always like to say this example, like my mom, for example, she couldn't order an Uber or do something as change her image on WhatsApp. And now she's spending 2 hours learning a language online on her mobile. I'm sure that she's gonna be a completely different user from now on. So imagine that this is happening everywhere, and how we are doing things now is completely different. So we need to think that even after this, even if we go back to the normal that we knew before, users are gonna be different. Like our consumers are change. So I think that my advice on that is how do we take on that? We need to think about innovation happening today, digital integration happening today, and happening in the next 3 months, 6 months, and so on until our long-term changes and goals. And for us, it's a big opportunity to not only continue innovating, continue knowing how we can add value on making better content, from content that we see on entertainment to content that we see probably on how we are learning, how we are communicating, but also for everybody out there. I think that every vertical is going to be changed, and there is a lot of opportunity right now for both startups as well as big corporations. But I think that the biggest thing that needs to be in our mind is that it has to be fast. I mean, there is no more time to wait and see. I think that whoever does these changes in the next 3 to 6 months and have this adaptation on their mindset, it's probably not going to be in the long term. So it sounds scary, but I think that it's mostly exciting.
Indeed. We have good challenges in our hands. Thank you very much, Jason, Cristina, Javier, and thanks to everyone in the audience. Thank you.
And moving on to our next topic, one that I hold dear to my heart, the development of local and regional ecosystems, the last mile networks. Here we're going to talk to a bunch of representatives from different startup communities around Spain to learn from their experiences and see what they're doing to generate vibrant ecosystems for the entrepreneurial communities in their regions. Good. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Here we have today, hi guys, hi everybody. Thank you so much for joining.
Hi everybody.
South Summit TV. Here we are, all of you have been to South Summit in previous editions, and here we are with something completely new. So delighted you guys could be here to share with us today. Here we have Miguel Vicente, who's chairman and founder of Barcelona Tech City. We have Juan Luis Hortelano, president of Startup Valencia. Javier Andrés, representing Chamberí Valley Madrid. Xavi Alvarez, representing Biscay Startup Bay, and Joaquin Cuenca, founder of Fitbit Company, representing Malaga. Thanks again, guys, for being here. I'm going to start with you, Miguel, please. Maybe tell us a little bit about Barcelona Tech City. What you guys do, what have you found is working locally in the ecosystem in Barcelona, and maybe what are your ambitions for the future?
Yeah, so thank you all. I'm really pleased to be here today with you and with so many friends. Yeah, from Barcelona Tech City, we believe that in general, the Spanish ecosystem and Barcelona in particular, they are in really good health. We've seen the numbers that Javier and before show about the ecosystem. So we really believe that this is all about talent. So there are two vectors here in this sector to be successful. So one is the ability to attract investors. So investors, they are there, they are international, they don't have any nationality, and they love every day more to invest in cities such as Barcelona and in Spain in general, thanks to the track record we had the last years. And the second vector is the ability to attract talent. That for me is the most important one. So what we've done in Barcelona in the last 10 years has been rolling this virtual cycle of more exits, more investments from international investors that have done their first investment in Barcelona or in Spain, and then they come for a board and they continue coming. No? And what we've done mainly is create some physical hubs, such as P001, where you can find a space of more than 12,000 square meters just focused on startups, where we combine corporate labs such as Telefonica, such as La Caixa, some others that have put their labs together with the startups. According to Forbes, this is one of the 5 biggest technological hubs in the world. So, and that has been key to attract talent and to put all the startups in the ecosystem together. So what we are trying to do, and what is key to really strengthen the ecosystem, is put all the different pieces of the ecosystem together: entrepreneurs, startups, investors, corporate labs, and all they working together. No? And what the plans that we have in the future is to expand that in different buildings with the same concept, but they are going to be vertical. I mean, it's trying to replicate this magic that happens in this space, but do that by vertical. For example, a healthcare building hub, another one for mobility, another one for e-commerce. In fact, we have already developed 2 of them, so now we have three different spaces and hubs that are all 3 connected, and that's the plan for the future, continuing with this strategy that has been proven to be successful for strengthening the ecosystem.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, and you've been very successful to date, so we'd like to see more of that. Continuing, Juan Luis, welcome back to South Summit. Tell us a little bit about Startup Valencia and what you guys are doing locally.
Yes, hello everyone. Hello, Liz, thank you. So, Startup Valencia is the result of a lot of people working together for the last 15, 20 years. From the very beginning, the Valencia ecosystem started growing in a slow, but I think what we can call healthy way, where all the players had a common objective, and that was trying to create a tech startup friendly city. And this seems easy, where there are 3 players involved, but I think it isn't. I think that union has been key to the growth and for what we can call a success, a little success, a small success, 10 or 15 years later, where Valencia has become the 3rd city ecosystem in Spain. And looking back, I think that this alignment together with other reasons helped bring the first accelerators here to the city. Maybe the first ones in Spain before all these accelerators and incubators bubble. We have Business Booster, now ABC, we had Plug and Play, Demium, and a few others that they invested in more than 300 startups since 2011, and they have been the seed for other initiatives like, for example, now Lanzadera. And even being competitors, there has been always a good relationship among all the stakeholders, and I think this definitively helped create Startup Valencia 4 years ago. Having the association leading the efforts from the private sector and acting as the unique point of contact with the government and the public sector, I think that helped improve the ecosystem a lot. And also not relying on public money. I think that's key, to have some credibility and to avoid becoming another nonsense association living from public money. And I think in Valencia we have the talent with top universities, we have friendly and attractive city, we have a nice balance between cost and quality of life, but still it's not enough. I mean, to create a mature ecosystem takes time. We are on it. You need success stories like other cities we know, for example, Barcelona, Madrid, And this is what we hope to see here in the next 5 to 10 years. We have already some promising startups and scale-ups and a good relationship with investors, but there is still lots of things to improve and optimize, especially local investors, even with a good traction with investors from Madrid, Barcelona, or even international. And also there is still a lot to do here with local companies, corporates, industries. We have a lot, and there is still a space where they can work together with startups to embrace innovation. But we know this takes time and is one of the challenges of the association. So we hope with all these ingredients and the help of all the parties, we can be in a much better position in the next years.
Exactly. A lot of work done and a bit more to do, but congratulations on what you've developed so far. Thank you, Juan Luis. Javier, ¿qué tal? How are things in Madrid? We're here now, but I want to hear from your thoughts in terms of how the ecosystem is developing here locally in recent years and what else is left to do.
Sure. Hello, Luis. Thank you very much for inviting us. Well, I think Madrid is really thriving as a city. I think everything has changed a lot in the last 10 years if you look backwards. Me as a part of Chamberí Valley, for example, we used to be a group of small entrepreneurs hanging out together to help and support each other. And just looking at all the members from Chamberí Valley, pretty much most of us have been successful selling our companies and now are really active investors into the ecosystem. And I think we are just a clear example of what's going on in Madrid. So as Miguel said, I think talent is key, and Madrid is one of the biggest attracting points for bringing talent from all over Spain, but also from overseas. And I think we are seeing more and more companies being successful. I think we have some of the top success stories, not only in Spain, but also in Europe. And this is like a flywheel that spins faster and faster. And we are seeing this growth because all these successful companies being formed here. Because at the end of the day, these companies with all those employees who have seen and who have been part of the success of those companies, usually they exit after the company and they start a new company or they start a new investing firm or something else. So the flywheel spins faster and faster. So I think Madrid is really well positioned. I think also we are all pretty much all of the biggest companies in Spain have at least if not the headquarters, at least one of the big companies also here. And I think we are seeing big corporations paying much more attention to what's going on to the startup community. And I think they see us now as a fast track for the innovation to them. So we are seeing a lot of collaborations. And also we are seeing a lot of involvement from the education ecosystem. So many universities and many education hubs have been created in order to create more talent. And I think now many students and many young people see the startup field as a landscape for opportunities and as a way to start a great career. So in the end, I'm really positive about the future of Madrid as a hub because of all these success stories happening in the last 10 years. And because pretty much all those employees are still working in the field, launching new startups, which
That's an important point, Javier. We just got him cut off there, but I think he was wrapping up. It's amazing to see the second-time entrepreneurs start to revive the ecosystem in Madrid, so that's exciting to see. Xavi, how are you? Tell us what's happening in lovely Bilbao and the Biscay region.
Hi, Liz. Thank you so much for having on us for this panel. It's a pleasure. I think this is important. It's kind of so-called, but I think that the most important thing is Bilbao is not the ecosystem. I see the ecosystem as Basque Country, and Bilbao is one location within the ecosystem as San Sebastian or Vitoria or Mondragon are. So I think it's a Basque Country, the ecosystem, or Biscay Bay, as we are called. I think that we have three main vectors that are key and are working pretty well here. Our own taxes is pretty important. Public support and collaboration between corporates and startups. The tax, as you know, we have tax autonomy and we have our own tax laws, strategies, policies different to the rest of the Spain. And this is because Basque authorities are using pretty well this strong tool, impacting on startups. For instance, here the taxation of the acquisition of capital stock by employees of startups is much better than in the rest of the Spain, even tax-free in some cases. Impacting on VC industry, for instance, the taxation of the carried interest that the GPs of VC funds earn is much better in the Basque Country than in the rest of the Spain, and that's the reason why, or one of the reasons why funds like, I don't know, Fitalent or Isios or Inverready have relocated their headquarters to the Basque Country, and this is very important for us. And impacting on corporates, because our tax laws establishes a strong tax deductions for financing startups, not only through equity, but financing startups in different ways. So this is very important. Second, public support, because our public administration is has huge programs and public aids for launching and scaling startups and R&D projects, and even for public VC funds like Seed Capital Vizcaya, Capital Riesgo País Vasco, or Ecarpen, who co-invest with local investors. So it's important in order to create investing culture here in the Basque Country. And third, last, the collaboration between startups and industrial corporates. You know that Basque Country is a very industrial region with big industrial corporations, and those companies are mostly pretty convinced that working with, investing on, or even buying startups is the only way to keep being innovative. So the interaction here is very high between startups and big corporations. So that's the reason. That's the reason why I think that mainly for B2B models, startups with products solving problems for industrial corporations, I think the Basque Country is one of the places to be.
Yeah,
so that's the sector. I think that's very important.
Thanks, Xavi. Sounds pretty strong there with your three-pillar strategy. And moving to Joaquin in Malaga, tell us a little bit what's going on there, Joaquin.
Hi. So here the strategy in Malaga is the government started creating the PTA, which is a technological park, where they have today more than 600 companies and over 20,000 employees in the technological sector. That was an important push in the very beginning, but I think these technological innovations didn't drip that much actually into the city, into the entrepreneurs in the city. And that's when we got like a second wave of companies that were started by people from Malaga, inside the city. And then we got companies like Up to Down, like ourselves, Free Peak, that were very successful outside of the park. So, the thing that make us apart from other cities is that here we had like a lower footprint on the investment, lower footprint from VCs, private equities, etc. And therefore, all the companies took a more of a bottom-up approach. They were bootstrapped in the vast majority. And now we are big enough that we are starting to attract those people. We're starting to attract private equity and venture capitalists. So I think today we're to a really big opportunity here. Like Malaga is being like the hub of the south of Spain. We're talking like 8 million people. And today, what makes this thing work is people. So if we manage to make a place that is nice to live, a place where people want to go, where talent wants to go, I think we will be like more than halfway there. And by that standard, Malaga, together with other cities in Spain, like Barcelona is great, Valencia is great, Madrid is great, etc. All of them. Okay, but I think we are all in this together. Like Malaga is a great place to live, and we are a great place to attract talent, and we managed to nail that. I think everything else will take care of itself. Like, right? Our colleague here was talking about the great tax incentives in the Basque Country. We need some of that, okay? But I think it's a rounding error somehow. Like if we manage to create the right companies to get the growth,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be secondary.
Excellent, yeah. Thank you, Joaquin. Really interesting points. Might not need the tax incentives if you have the sunshine. So Malaga has already proven it's well able to attract international talent. Folks, thank you so much. Javier, you're back. We lost you there for a second. We lost your connection, but here we go. These are the digital events. This is what happens. Folks, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you at the next edition of South Summit, and congratulations on all your local and regional initiatives. Thank you so much. Fascinating to hear.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Cheers, take care. Bye, guys. Fascinating to hear what's going on regionally there. Spain has such a unique opportunity with multiple strong ecosystems here, and of course a huge opportunity to attract international talent in the current environment. And speaking of Malaga, we're now going to have a few words from the mayor of the city of Malaga. Francisco de la Torre Prados is going to share some words about what's happening on the city there.
In Malaga, we are proud with our strategy to be strong in culture, to be strong in innovation. And now, 20 years after, we have a good ecosystem for innovation, for attraction, for talent, with our university, with our technological park, digital innovation hub, our incubator, accelerator, and very good climate, very good quality of life. The spending of life is slow. And now we think we are able to attract the talent of all the world.
And now we have some words from our regional representatives connecting to Valencia.
5 public universities with its 5 scientific parks, 11 technological institutes, more than 600 entrepreneur ecosystem agents have, as a result, 700 startups accelerating and scaling in Valencia during this year. The times we have to face lead us to grow with sustainability, social impact, and technology focused on people and helping small and medium enterprises to transform. From Valencia, the land with 330 days of sun, the Mediterranean capital where the Silk Road begins, we are glad to introduce our ecosystem in this South Summit edition.
Now we will have a few words from our regional representatives. Unai Rementiera, General Counsel of Vizcaya.
Hola María, hola a todas y a todos. Un saludo para South Summit en Madrid desde aquí, desde Vizcaya, y sobre todo el deseo de que estéis todas y todos bien, que es importante. Bueno, y a partir de eso, ¿qué más? Pues que hay que seguir, que tenemos que seguir, que toca seguir trabajando. Es lo que estáis haciendo vosotras y vosotros, y es lo que estamos haciendo precisamente aquí también en Vizcaya. Seguir trabajando, seguir innovando, seguir emprendiendo y seguir adelante. Ahora, más que nunca, toca eso, insisto, seguir adelante. Así que muchísimo ánimo, muchísima fuerza desde aquí, desde Vizcaya, y aquí también os esperamos con novedades, siempre con novedades y cosas buenas. Acabamos de adjudicar el Centro Internacional de Emprendimiento, uno de nuestros grandes proyectos, y preparamos también una fiscalidad que nos ayude a cumplir y reforzar los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible. Porque hay que seguir y no se puede hacer de cualquier manera. Bueno, pues lo dicho, mucho ánimo, mucha fuerza, mucha fortaleza y muchísimo trabajo. Esperamos que nos veamos muy pronto. Eskerrik asko. Agur bat guztiontzat.
And now moving to our next topic, again, something I'm personally really passionate about. This next conversation is about social entrepreneurship and impact investing. So important to think about the impacts that we're actually having on society, on the economy, on our environment when we're building these innovative solutions. So with great pleasure, I get to welcome our next speaker who's going to moderate the next conversation, Alexandra Mitchens, the director of Ashoka Spain. Alexandra, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you. So today we will explore the intersection between social impact, innovation, and future. Social innovation has no age, no borders, no predetermined format. We're going to see living examples of social innovation that are inspiring thousands around the world, coming from the corporate sector, the entrepreneurial arena, and from young people. Their impact is real, and they're inspiring thousands around the world. And as we like to say at Ashoka, they're the living proof that everyone can be a change maker. I therefore invite my fellow panelists to share with me today how they are inspiring change within their organizations, but also inspiring their sector, their fields, the corporate sector, the entrepreneurial sector, and even young people to follow them into a more systemic, profound change. And I would like to start with Isabel, calling in from Brazil. She's a 17-year-old change maker who founded Black Girls Project, and who's empowering young, vulnerable people into living life of equal opportunities. Isabel, hello, good morning. As a young change maker, how do you think we can solve our most pressing issues by making sure everyone is included in the solution?
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much. Well, I think that for us to create real impact on our society, it is mainly important to develop and deploy effective solutions to challenge the systemic social issues in support of social progress. But that is impossible to happen without the active collaboration of all people from all backgrounds and across all sectors. So government, business, the nonprofit, everybody needs to be working together. And I see that we are living in strange times because technological innovation is increasing levels of productivity, but I see that it is not promoting sustaining economic growth, for example. And I think that, in fact, all kinds of inequalities are increasingly faster than ever because of that scenario, and powered by the pandemic too. And mainly because the market in a high skill, high pay, and low skill, low pay model, and people without access to proper education, qualification, and opportunities are being excluded. But if you want to really change the scenario, I think we need to have everybody in the conversation, in the decision-making process, especially young people, because if the people who are mainly being affected about the most pressing issues the world is facing today, we are not going to come up with effective solutions because the person who are passing through it understand how we can truly change that. And as a young change maker, I see that young people, we are more than half of the world's population, and we have extremely creative, innovative minds that can come up with solutions, and we are already doing it. And when I started the Black Girls Project, I was just 13 years old, because I was feeling negligent about not giving opportunities to people who came from the same start point as me. Because here in Brazil, we have a huge social inequality regarding opportunities. So I wanted to share opportunities with people from social vulnerable conditions to make them thrive and be protagonists of their own lives. And developing this project, I became an Ashoka Young Change Maker, and I could see amazing ideas and meet young people from all over the world who are doing amazing things to change society. So I think it is important for us to endorse those people who are doing this, because we are creating opportunities. For example, a social project that I created by 13, now are becoming an NGO and creating great opportunities for people of vulnerable conditions. So I think for us to have a world, everyone is a change maker, and to have a work that suits everybody's realities, not just from the small groups of people, we need to have everybody in the conversation. And for that, we need to speed up our pace of change.
We need to have everyone in the conversation. I couldn't agree more with you, Isabel. Thank you. Now, warm welcome to Alberto Tornero. Alberto is the director of high growth potential companies at PwC Spain. They focus on SME and startups with up to 100 million euro income. Alberto, what lessons can we learn from the management side of these social impact initiatives?
First of all, thank you very much for your invitation, and I'm very glad to be here with you with this amazing panel. In 2013, PwC Spain, we launched a new area, which was called High Growth Potential Company Areas, with the aim of working with two kinds of companies. The large companies, to help them to work with the startups, and their startups and small medium enterprise themselves to help them work with them as a client. During these 7 years, we've been involved in many projects with social impact, and even actually we're working with Fundación 11 in their acceleration program with Alberto, who's here. And after these years, what we have realized, Alexandra, is that the management of these companies is not many times in the top place for them. So they have a very good idea, they have a very good project, they have a very good product that could help many people to make their lives better and to help them, but the management is not in their mind. So and this is very quite important thing, because when you're talking about a project that has to be successful and sustainability, it's sustainable, you have to think in three work streams. We have the business itself, what is the product, whatever they do to help out others, but there are two other work streams. What is the corporate that will run this business and the equity that will fund that business. So for us, it's quite important to bear in mind and help them to bear in mind that you can have any kind of idea that could change the world, but if you don't focus on, you don't seek for a professional management, thinking in things like size of the market, like a business plan, like commercial strategy, like cash flow, which is very funny sometimes that they are doing things, but where is the cash flow? How are you going to pay this? This is a quite important thing, and under my experience on this field, if I have to say a single word about this thing, is try to find or try to do a professional management of the company, because that will make that successful and you can change the world with that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alberto. Beautiful combination between vision and practicism and efficiency and management. Thank you very much. Now, also warm welcome to have Antonio Calzada here. Welcome, Antonio. Antonio is the General Manager and Vice President of the Repsol Foundation, which last year launched one of the most impressive impact funds in the social impact arena with very ambitious goals. Antonio, what are some of the advantages of having such a corporate vehicle in order to achieve these very ambitious goals that you have set?
Good morning, everybody. I hope on behalf of Repsol Company and also on behalf of Repsol Foundation that all of you are feeling okay, are okay within all this so strange situation. And answering your question, Alexandra, congratulations also to you. I'm seeing here since a long time I didn't see you, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that the first thing we should have is a clear vision on the way we want to go. So I think that talking about social innovation, first of all, we need to have clear where to go. And I think that in my company and in our foundation, it is a corporate foundation, but it's quite clear that we want to create in real terms. I want to underline that in real terms, we want to create a sustainable social business, a very sustainable social business, with based in a huge economic impact, a huge social impact, and a great positive contribution for the society and for the environment. So this means that we want to create this positive contribution to the energy transition, to climate change. And in summary, we want to be part of the solution, creating a positive impact for the planet and also for the people. It is possible to do it. I think that there is no doubt that it is possible to do it, but now it's time for execution. I think that it's because this is so urgent, it's time for execution. So if I could summarize this message in a simple sentence, I would say, let's go and do it. Having said that, the first question should be, well, let's do it, how to do it, and what do we think it is needed to be done in order to be successful. And then I will share my experience or our experience within last year. The first thing that we all need to have quite clear what is the mission. And in Repsol Foundation, we put in place a new mission, transformation mission, fully aligned with Repsol strategy, fully aligned with the sustainable development goals, fully aligned with the 2030 goals, and with the Paris Agreement. So the new mission has led us to develop this new strategy by which, as a corporate foundation, we want to go well far beyond this philanthropic effort that has been carrying out for more than 20 years to support the development of social projects. And inspired by these new challenges and to align ourselves to these new trend lines in the social sector, Repsol Foundation created in July 2019 an impact fund through Repsol Social Impact to invest in companies with some clear objectives and activities, is to contribute to the global energy transition and climate change, helping companies to scale up with the two mandatory roles. Also, on top of this, is to create a huge social impact and to create a very positive environmental impact. So this is the first thing. The second one is through Repsol Impact Fund and through Repsol Social Impact, as a company inside the foundation, the Repsol Foundation, we are investing in companies with focus in the 5 main activities. The first one is an activity very much related with emissions reduction, and this is activities, for example, related with reforestation. This is green agenda, this is green economy, this is a circular economy also. The second one is sustainable mobility, basically with vulnerable people in urban areas, which is something also very much needed. The third one is circular economy. The fourth one is energy efficiency in urban areas, in vulnerable areas, and there is also great opportunity there to do this. And the last one is an activity related with eco products and services in the rural areas, developing platforms that can put directly in contact producers and the customers.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, Antonio. Sorry, I have to cut you here because we're running very short, but congratulations, because your work is truly, truly impressive and an inspiration to many of us. Thank you. Now, welcome Alberto Duran. Alberto is the Vice President of the Fundación ONCE and the President of Ilunion, and he's a global reference of accessibility and employment. Alberto, very briefly, short and sweet, you have an outstanding career in the field. What are some of the most relevant lessons on the social impact arena that you can share with all of us?
Social impact is our reason to be. We are born precisely for that, to achieve social impact with our actions and to improve the quality of life of persons with disability. Throughout our foundation, we are the world's largest institution working for persons with disability, with over 80 years of experience and more than 73,000 workers, 60% persons with disability. We are the first employers in the world in the number of workers with disability.
Thank you, and that's definitely a teaser, and we have so much more to learn from you, Alberto. Thank you, Isabel, Alberto, Antonio, and Alberto Duran also for taking the time, for sharing your wisdom, and showing us the enormous potential of this field. This was short, but yet powerful. We can't wait to hear you again next year. And thank you for showing us how the intersection between future and innovation can only be social. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Alexandra, and thank you for facilitating the conversation. Great work being done as well at Ashoka. Thank you so much, folks. So inspiring. It's just so refreshing and inspiring to hear there's so many talented people in the world doing so many good things and doing the right thing. And it's a pleasure to welcome our next speaker, somebody close to the house at South Summit. Our next speaker is Susana Malcorra, who is the Dean of Global and Public Affairs at IE University. And she is here. Hi, Susana. Hi, thank you for being with us here today. Susana, you're going to talk to us. You have a couple of minutes to go over perspectives of global innovation. So very excited to hear about what you have to say. Susanna, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and thanks to the South Summit for this excellent event. I deeply believe that governments have a strong saying on impacting their societies. The ability of governments to impact on people's lives, for particularly those of most vulnerable groups, is central. In the COVID context, we have seen the limitations of our institutions when required to respond in an agile and efficient manner to the needs of their peoples. But this crisis has also surprised us with stories about innovative companies collaborating with governments to invent, create, produce, and test solutions in record time. Cultural and regulatory barriers were left behind to prioritize the co-creation of value and the public good. Governments across the world are finding a new ally in startups, scale-ups, and digital SMEs holding a public vocation like the ones we have here today. They not only seek financial returns, but also the creation of that public value and social impact. Their value proposition incorporates public impact through the improvement of services for citizens and companies, the increase in the operational efficiency of public administrations, the consolidation of the digital and data infrastructure, as well as the promotion of public integrity and corruption prevention, very important attributes. They have become a powerful policy instrument for those institutions supporting them, especially for the promotion of entrepreneurship, support to the growth markets, and investment in local innovative companies. This new innovation ecosystem, which is called GovTech, is present now in most countries and in most cities, as we have seen, though there is still a need to articulate the pieces and the actors better. Countries like Great Britain, Estonia, Lithuania, Portugal, or Colombia, as examples, have already involved these ecosystems. Spain has joined these leading countries in GovTech by announcing in its Digital Spain Plan 2025 the creation of a national GovTech lab with the aim of bringing exponential technologies closer to the Spanish public institutions. Precisely from IE Public Tech Lab, a center at the school I lead at IE, together with the Development Bank of Latin America, CAF, we have launched the first guide on GovTech public policies, where all those interested governments can find 30 public policy recommendations to create and promote GovTech systems. The opportunity is immense, the need too. It is time to rethink the future of governments and to count on the community of innovators and entrepreneurs to be able to bring the best public services to people's lives. Thank you.
Susanna, excellent. Thank you so much for being with us here today. And amazing to hear how you guys, with your GovTech Lab, are bringing some of these incredible technologies into the public sector space. So important, such an important area for development. Susanna, thank you. Take care. We'll see you at the next edition. Very exciting to hear what they're doing there, and such an important sector to innovate in, right? It's not just the private sector, the public sector definitely needs to be renovated and updated also consistently. And moving to our next topic, we are going to continue the conversation of innovation, and specifically around innovation and knowledge flows between companies, teams, organizations, and even countries. And I am only delighted to invite to the stage to present our next panel, colleague and friend Marisol Mendez, who is our own Chief Open Innovation Officer here at South Summit. Marisol, the floor is yours. All yours.
Hello. Wow, this is an exciting day at exciting times. We are super happy to have this panel today. And let me welcome my fellow panelists for this amazing conversation. So please welcome David Cierco, who is General Director of Red.es. Welcome. Clara Pombo, Corporate Director of Clark Modet and founder of MIT Enterprise Forum in Spain and angel investor. Welcome, welcome. Jose Bayón, CEO at ENISA. Welcome on stage, Jose. And Álvaro Bourcaïve, a partner for Cuatro Casas in IP, IT, technology, and transactions. Welcome, Álvaro. As you can see, we are all here, and this is a perfect mix of physical and online. And today we are taking an approach on a topic that I'm passionate about. By the way, my name is Marisol Menendez. I'm Chief Open Innovation Officer at South Summit. And for me, this is like the best. We are going to talk about connections, building bridges with a diverse group. Each of you do a completely different thing, but all of you are working towards the same goal, building bridges in the ecosystem. This is amazing, no? Let's mix it up, guys. So let me begin, please, with David. David, let's begin with you. SMEs and individual workers are key elements of the economy. Everybody knows that. So for speed and transformation of the country, we rely on them a lot. How can we help them? How can we support and create a network for digital transformation?
Okay, thank you very much, Marisol. The first thing I would like to say, I'm very, very pleased to be here. Congratulations to Maria, to the South Summit for the organization of this event. I think it's very important for Spain and for Madrid, so congratulations. The second thing I would like to say is my thoughts are with people who are suffering right now, okay? We have people who are suffering in a personal viewpoint, but as well business people, okay? They're making a very big effort, okay, to be in business. And from the public administration, the Spanish public administration, what we would like to do is to help them in their effort, okay? I think we are facing right now one of the biggest challenges ever, okay, in Spain, in Europe, in the world, probably in the last 70, 80 years, okay? We have the crisis COVID-19, okay? In another way, we are facing the digital transformation and the green transformation, okay? There are big, big challenges, and we have to work all together, okay? If we want to help a business, big business, small business, and self-employed people, the first thing we like to do is to be with them, okay? So from Red.es, okay, which is a public company, belongs to the Minister of Economy, okay? What we're doing is to put in place plans and programs to help them now, in the short term. The first thing we did is to put in place a platform, okay, which is called acelera.gov.es, which is a platform where we have 450 collaborators and more than 80,000 users, okay? SMEs and self-employed people can find technology, and they can find as well solutions to implement digital transformation in the short term, okay? Because people needed to keep their business running in the short term in digital. That's one thing we're doing. And because I don't have too much time, I would like to end up saying that we have put in place another program, which is called as well Accelerate program, SMEs, and it's 250 million euros, okay, 250 million euros to help SMEs, okay, to transform themselves in the medium term. So because I don't have too much time, I would like to say only that we are going to build up a national network with more than 100 offices all over Spain where SMEs can go there and we can help them to transform themselves, okay? And I think in the short term I have to speak is enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Of course, digital transformation, support, connectedness, and SMEs is key. And Jose, at ENISA, you also have a wide perspective in supporting SMEs to compete and develop, but in the global landscape, which is the perfect complement for this. Your entity is one of the most active bridge builders that I know of, promoting internationalization of Spanish companies through innovation. Tell us more about that, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting ENISA to this South Summit. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Marisol, Maria, all the team, and congratulations for the organization this year. We are willing to meet us all together and work all together next year again. Well, this is clear that the Spanish SMEs, that the Spanish startups are even more international and global. And in this way, ENISA, we think ENISA is a very useful instrument, public instrument, in order to support the innovation. It is well known that the Spanish SMEs are small, and this is difficult in order to invest in innovation. Because of this, we try to support this innovation. ENISA acts as a key player in these entrepreneurship ecosystems, promoting the creation as a stronger productive model and sustainable economy. So we loan. We have a lot of credits, a lot of loans every year. This year we have 100 million approved by the Spanish government, and we are receiving more applications than the last year. So we are perhaps more necessary in this moment. The public sector is in this moment very necessary. As David has told before, I think it's very important to remember this also here in this way.
Thank you very much, Jose. Clara, not only public organizations work on connections, no? So how you know firsthand that technical transfer is critical for innovation. So how do you see it in your own perspective?
Thank you. I want to make a special point on the things that we do well in Spain. We are ranked the 10th in terms of innovation, in terms of science. There's great science at universities. On the one hand, we're also an entrepreneurial hub. Everybody wants to move to Madrid, places like the South Summit and Barcelona. However, companies, corporations, and the technology doesn't transfer into the market. We are there on an innovation index of 30 in the world. What is going on, what happens, and how can we help? There are a number of good initiatives happening already in collaboration between universities, spin-offs, technology centers, and venture capital firms who are helping these spin-offs to reach also the market and collaborate more with open innovation programs at corporations. Corporations in Spain at the moment only spend 5.5% of all their R&D budget in working with university. This needs to be increased, and on the other hand, the university needs to become more entrepreneurial, and there needs to be more connection between the two. 3 points. One, training. Universities and C-level at the organizations at universities and technology offices need to inspire and train the role of IP and the role of technology transfer. Secondly, collaboration, mixed teams, public and private teams between universities and corporations. And thirdly, investment. You need to have more tech transfer funds and work with great institutions like Redes and ENISA to fund these spin-offs and help them survive the valley of death and reach the bigger corporations so that they can grow and become international unicorns. Thank you.
Of course. So good elements in Spain and great connections that we can nurture. And they say that good fences make for good neighbors, but I also say that good bridges create also good neighborhoods. What can we tell about connections from your own peculiar, I think it's interesting perspective from Cuatro Casas' perspective. Let us talk a little bit about these connections, please, Álvaro.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Marisol, and thank you, South Summit, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I do tech transactions for a living, and I do it 24/7, just like every other attorney. That's our schedule. So I've seen a lot of things change in this last year. But if I had to pick two trends, one for companies, another one for universities, I'd probably choose those two. First, technology has escalated to C-level decisions. So the people I talk to are the CEO, CTO, CLO, and they have that on the top of their list because businesses are changing and businesses are becoming more and more digital. And one thing I learned is that they base their decisions on three things. Is it technologically possible? Is it legally allowed? And is it ethically desirable? And I'll get into that. So is it technically possible? That's the entrance level, just the very basic. So my first advice here would be, do not concentrate strictly on the technology in itself. If you don't do it now, somebody else will, and it will in a short term and even half the cost. You need it, but it's not enough. Second, is it legally possible, legally allowed? My advice here would be get involved a lawyer in the first stages of the development, because going back afterwards, it's very complicated. And because technology is evolving so fast, legal systems are putting fences to protect people from that development. So get a lawyer. 3, is it ethically desirable? And this shocks a little bit when I talk about it, but a CEO is so committed to social corporate responsibility, that this is on their list as well. So it's not only that it must be technically possible, it must be legally allowed, it must be ethically desirable to have, to the value proposition to be really interesting for a company. And on universities, second trend, I do agree with everything that Clara just said, and maybe because I'm hopeful about it, I've seen recently universities devoting more resources to tech transaction. We've been involved in a number of cases where universities really are transferring the basic scientific research that they do, which is paramount in Spain, 10th in the world. That's astonishing. To transfer that into civil society through tech transfer. And my advice here would be, have a look at university because things may change soon.
Yes, of course. So we have good, strong bridges, by the way, also ethical, that transfer the right kind of knowledge between the ecosystems with the correct support locally and globally, building over the perfect talent. And if I might add, maybe as a wrap-up, I think we have in the overall landscape of the connectedness and the open innovation, which is, by the way, what I like to talk about as well, everyone has their own role. The startups are like the innovation lab of the world. Their job is to explore, experiment, and validate business models. We have corporations with the reach out to the customer, the connection with the regulator, and a good infrastructure. We have universities growing and nurturing the knowledge and creating these connections. We have investors giving gasoline to the system. We have, of course, the public organizations helping this grow. And together with activities such as we do in South Summit, we create connections, we create bridges, and we make magic happen. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you for having this opportunity or coming here to discuss all the possibilities of the connections. And let's keep building bridges. This is what makes the ecosystem grow and innovate and ultimately a better world. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming today.
And now we're going to talk about an initiative which is the perfect example of collaboration to accelerate innovation. Restarting Together is a call that we made during the COVID pandemic, a collaboration between 14 corporates, business schools and associations who teamed up to look for the best startups to support our society, help the economy and reinvent the world together. Now we're going to learn more about this initiative and we're going to find out who the winner is. It is with great pleasure I get to welcome to the stage Agustin Moro, who is Director of Partnerships at Telefónica Connected Open Innovation. Agustin, thank you for being here. Great to see you.
Hi. Good afternoon. Yes, Liz was saying, so 2020 has brought us different and challenging times that are testing our resilience and our capabilities. Yet it has also given us the opportunity to reignite our sense of community and to rethink a better tomorrow. In this alliance, in Restarting Together Alliance, 14 partners teamed up. I would like to spend 30 seconds to name each of them. That was Boston Consulting Group, Cemex, South Summit, IDB Lab, Airbus, BASF, Citi, Endeavor, IE and IESC Business Schools, MAFRE, Microsoft for Startups, and Navantia. So top-class corporates and institutions, together with Telefónica. And yeah, we were looking for best startups to bring us a better tomorrow. Today, I'm super thrilled to have here with me Marisol Menendez. She's the Chief Open Innovation Officer here at South Summit. Hello, Marisol. How are you? Hello. And we also have Irene Arias, the CEO from IDB Labs. Hello, Irene.
Buenas tardes. Hello, everyone.
Buenas tardes, Irene. So great to have you here. And Gonzalo Galindo, he's CEO of Cemex Ventures and one of the supporters of this initiative. Supporters and
thank you very much, Agustin. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Great to have you here. So before diving into the winners of Restarting Together initiative, I would like to address you some questions. I will start with Irene. And Irene, I would love if you could share with our audience how was your experience with this challenge, and what do you think of this type of initiatives?
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for creating this space to really reflect on what was the experience, and thank you, Agustin, for the question. It was very insightful. I think it was, first of all, a demonstration that the willingness to collaborate across boundaries, across corporates with institutions, and of course, putting that at the service of accelerating the growth of startups everywhere is enormous, no? And we've seen that increase a lot more, I think, with this sense of urgency and this sense of common purpose that this crisis has brought up in all of us. So I think that was the first thing that was a clear demonstration of that sense of collaboration. The second thing was that it was very insightful because we, from the innovation lab of the IDB group, the Inter-American Development Bank, of course, we dedicate ourselves to Latin America and the Caribbean, but it's very, very important that we keep an eye on what is happening on the global scene so that we don't duplicate, we learn from other regions, and we incorporate and connect the startup ecosystems in Latin America and the Caribbean with other regions. So it was great and very insightful to learn from the leading startups from around the world and how they have come up with innovative ways of addressing the COVID challenges. It was the first global edition, I believe, and I think Latin America and the Caribbean had a 40% participation. So we will continue and would love to continue to work together and making sure that number keeps increasing. We're constantly working to achieve that, and in particular also with women-led startups. And we have an addition to create that new pipeline, a new generation of startups as part of We Exchange, which is a platform that connects startups and female founders of startups, November 10 to 12. And it will be a virtual event like this one. So connecting all of these networks is really, really powerful. And it was really an insightful experience in that sense. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Irene. Yeah, I really think that having so many corporates from different geographies and covering almost worldwide footprint was super insightful for everyone. It was a good occasion to share best practices. And we share with you the topic and the challenge of raising up the number of female entrepreneurs and female founders. So yeah, count on Restarting Together and the partners to fight for that. Thank you.
Great.
Gonzalo, I would like to ask you, what do you think of the winning startups, and how do you plan to work with them? So tell us how CEMEX works with startups coming up from this type of challenges.
Thank you, Agustin. Actually, I was really, really surprised with the quality of not only the winners, but the hundreds of submittals that we got in the challenge. You know? But especially the finalists and especially the winners, I really got extremely impressed and surprised by the value propositions they are putting forward and really how they really matched what we were trying to achieve with this challenge. Really in accordance with the objectives of helping us restart the economy, make the country, the cities more resilient, the society more resilient, and really helping us to put society back into the feet, no, after this pandemic, no. On behalf of CEMEX and I think on behalf of all the partners, I think our challenge right now is making sure that they deliver on the promise on helping them to fulfill their full potential. No? At the end of the day, we're doing this because we want them to provide something to the world which actually help us come back from this pandemic and in a stronger and much more stronger footing. No? From behalf of CEMEX, we will put all our resources, both internally and throughout the networks of customers and municipalities and governments that we work in the construction world, to actually try to help them grow their potential, to actually fulfill and show the kind of capabilities they can show, but also leveraging the network of partners that we have created through this competition and throughout our work in the open innovation front, really make sure that these guys really get what they need from who they need in terms of acceleration programs, in terms of opportunities to supply their products to markets, to societies, and so on. No? So it's going to be, I mean, as of now, the easy part was there, which is really putting together the show, selecting the winners. But now the tough part is making sure that they deliver on the promise, on the purpose of the challenge, which is making something good for society. You know?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. We did the easy part. Now we have to drive that innovation and that solutions into our companies. So yeah, it's exciting to learn how Cemex will be doing that and the rest of the partners, so we can also share best practices and learn. Marisol, you from the South Summit side, what was your role in this initiative and how did you see it?
Well, first of all, I think that we are all thinking that this was needed. No, this came up at a time where it was relevant for the ecosystem, and the sense of urgency that you were referring before was critical. But also we need to look into the future, you know? And in South Summit, we love collaboration, we love connecting, we love startups, and the perfect mix and representation of regions and sectors that you have in this initiative, it's a perfect connection and match to what we represent also at South Summit. And believing in this future, you know that the winners will be directly participating in South Summit 2021 because, yes, we are looking into that future and we will expect these startups to tell their story from one year on. And we will want to tell the stories of these real connections that you are needing today. And you know, this is important because we had more than 500 startups participating in the competition, and we only have 3 winners, no?
Yeah, it was a tough contest, yeah, and I'm sure the audience would love to see the 3 winners, which are terrific solutions that have multiple use cases to the different industries that are represented in the Restarting Together Challenge. So yeah, we expect to be able to deliver well to these 3 startups, so I won't like to lose any more time to give them the floor. I will start with the winner of one of the categories, Accelerating the Recovery, which is Ariel. Hello, Ariel.
Hi, Augustine. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
So congratulations on winning the Restarting Together contest. I would love if you could share with us what Ariel does. It's a terrific solution. I know it very well since it's one of Telefónica Ventures investees. We're working with them for already some time, but I would like you to share with the audience what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. If I may, I'd first like to take the opportunity to thank the Restarting Together committee for selecting Ariel as the winner here. As I didn't really get the opportunity to do that on the event itself, so thank you again. You know, at Ariel, we've essentially developed a very innovative technology and a platform which is able to use the existing Wi-Fi infrastructure and connected devices in homes and buildings to provide motion intelligence. And with that, it can then be used to offer services and applications which can not only improve people's lives, but potentially save lives too. So whether we're helping to secure somebody's home or look after grandma or monitor you know, a remote patient remotely, this technology has real wide-ranging applications, which we're obviously very excited about.
Yeah, so fully agree. You have so many use cases in different verticals. I really like your solution, and I'm proud that Telefónica has been able to bring to the rest of the partners good technology that's working with us, and I really hope that you're also able to work with the rest of the corporates in the consortium. So thank you so much for taking the time, and congratulations again.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. I would now like to introduce you the winner of the second category, which was Strengthening the Resilience. And this is a company from Israel that's called 6 Degrees.
World that have lost due to injury, paralysis, or disease.
Our motion-based technology, or wearable, replaces the need for a finger on a touchpad or a hand on a mouse. It just requires motion in order to control a phone, a computer, a tablet, or any gaming device. It was a great honor for us to be selected under Strengthen Our Resilience category in Restarting Together. Our efforts are dedicated towards people with disabilities in order to regain employment opportunity using technology. This is especially challenging in these hard times. I would love to expand the conversation further. Check us out at 6degrees.tech and feel free to reach out directly to me through this event. I'm wishing you all the best, health, happiness, and especially impact. Thank you all, and good night.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's super cool wearable band that allows you to control smart devices. I really like 6 Degrees. And finally, I would like to introduce you to the winner of the last category, which was Revamping the Economy, and they are Neura. Hello, Neura, from the US.
Thank you. The team and I are proud to have been chosen by the esteemed panel of Restarting Together. Neura's behavioral intelligence platform has been leveraged in so many ways over the years. We've been powering mobility use cases, mobile apps, marketing, smart cities, health, with the ability to drive strategic decision-making processes that are powered by large-scale human behavior data. But 2020 was unique. 2020 was the year in which the world and us faced the challenge of COVID-19. We have leveraged this data to help economies and governments recover from COVID-19, reopen, restart, and get back to their normal lives. We're happy to be here today and take part of South Summit. And we're excited to see where behavioral intelligence will take us in the future.
Okay, so thanks everyone for being with us today. Thank you so much, Irene Arias. Thank you so much, Gonzalo Galindo and my friend Marisol. It's always a pleasure to be here again in South Summit with the best startups from the, I was going to say Spanish, European, but worldwide ecosystem. So thank you so much, South Summit.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much. An amazing initiative. There you have it, an exact example of an innovative collaboration. Thank you, folks. And we'll be so excited to see those 3 winners at the 2021 edition of South Summit. Thank you. Restarting Together. So here it's all about ecosystem investment and innovation, just what we are living here at South Summit and what we believe our South Summit community are living out there, reinventing themselves every single day, now more than ever. This next conversation is going to take a deep dive into new ways of collaboration, making, again, more and more ways to be able to innovate. But this time we're looking at complexities like multi-sector, multi-country, and multiplayer connections. So here to tell us all about that and the speakers participating in the next conversation is my wonderful colleague, Marisol Menendez, our Chief Open Innovation Officer. Marisol, all yours.
Thank you very much, Liz. I'm so happy to be here. It's so energetic. I wish you could all experiment what we are living here today. And I have double reason to be super happy because I'm here with my amazing friends representing different regions in the world. As Liz was saying before, and as I was saying in the panel before, I love connection. I'm passionate about open innovation. The connectedness works. We create value. We reach out wherever any organization can't reach out. We collaborate together. And this doesn't only happen at a local level. Of course, there are global dynamics. And to talk about this today, I have these amazing ladies in the panel. Let me welcome all of you, ladies. So let me introduce Judith Auer. She is founder and CEO of Playmob and Dealmaker, Global Entrepreneur Program at the UK. Hello, Judith, how are you?
Hi.
Hello.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Fine. Thank you very much. Welcome. Next on stage, we have Irene Trambach. She's CEO and founder of the Nordic Future Innovation Network in the Nordics, all the way to Oslo, no? And Norway. Hi, Irene.
Hi. Hi, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Then we have Liat Shaham. She is from the Israel Embassy, and we have her connected here from Madrid representing Israel. Hello, Liat.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
And last but of course not least, we have all the way from Belgium, Paula Kant, representing Invest in Hong Kong. Hello, Paula.
Hi, Marisol. So nice to be here. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here today. And you know, we discussed this before. We wanted to talk about what are the opportunities that we have in many corners of the world. What is the global game? So I want to begin maybe with Jude. Jude, can you explain us what opportunities do we have in the UK and from the UK coming to the world?
Yeah, so I guess, you know, I kind of see it from kind of two perspectives. One, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm on my third business at the moment. And, you know, I also support the Global Entrepreneur Programme, which is the government programme which supports international founders coming to the UK. So I've got the lens of being in the country and also supporting those who want to come here too. In terms of the opportunities within the UK, I think, you know, over the past 15 years, what we've seen is, you know, massive support coming from government. Really understanding that, you know, we need great founders, we need innovation, and, you know, great entrepreneurs and innovation are going to solve some of the world's greatest problems. So, you know, we need to be able to make an ecosystem which is supportive of that. So things that have come up over the past 15 years have been, you know, looking at, you know, how do we get more money into the ecosystem? And so we've had initiatives like the Startup Enterprise Investment Scheme and the Enterprise Investment Scheme, which are tax incentives and tax discounts essentially for investors to invest in early stage companies. So that's been phenomenal in order to get more money into the system. We get more money into the system, we get more startups, more entrepreneurs, people can then exit and put more money back into the ecosystem. So there's a cycle that can happen within this. Other things that have happened have been grant funding. The grant funding that's available, especially through the likes of Innovate UK, you know, some of them are quite open in terms of what they're looking for, but it's all about, you know, high risk to failure innovation, and really trying to test the boundaries in a number of areas. And so the grant funding opportunities are fantastic as well. And to lead on from that, R&D and R&D rebates that can happen for companies that are investing heavily within research and development, where at the end of the year, you can then claim back some money that you've spent on the resources that you've needed to put into your research and development. Then we've got other initiatives like Patent Box. So if you patent your IP, there's a tax incentive in the future when you start to commercialize it. And other things as well. So upon an exit, you've got entrepreneurs relief. So when you sell your business, there's a tax discount on a certain percentage of the money that you make, in order to, you know, incentivize more people to kind of go for the exits. And also, you know, that's a great way to then get money back into the system, because entrepreneurs typically then want to then invest in other companies. So if you've got more money to do that, you fuel the ecosystem even more. And, you know, you can even look at, you know, industry specifics like fintech, where, you know, over the past 5 years, we've changed regulations around fintech. So there's been a boom in the number of companies that want to come to the UK because of the ecosystem for fintech. And an area that I'm really passionate about is impact, you know, how companies could make a positive impact in the world. And I think the UK is really starting to take, you know, lead the charge in this space too, and build an amazing ecosystem, where I've seen through the Global Entrepreneur Programme, I've seen companies want to come to the UK because it's a great place to have an impact company. We've seen the number of impact investors rising. And just recently I saw a statistic where since 2015, when the Sustainable Development Goals had launched, £2.2 billion had been invested in companies aligned to the SDGs. So, you know, there's kind of that kind of macro view within the market, but also we start to see the clusters within the specific areas as well.
Thank you very much, Jude. And of course, tons of opportunities there. Liat, we all know about Israel. We know about the startup nation, the perfect example of even a startup country. Tell us about that, please.
So thank you again, Marisol, and again, it's a pleasure to be here. Well, there's two things that I can say that I think are relevant to the discussion in terms of collaboration between the global community in Israel and in the innovation scene. So from the side of open innovation, which I know you love, so I think Israel, with more startups than any country in Europe, I think it's a paradise for open innovation. And as well you mentioned, as you know, there is like an ongoing, always train of corporates coming into Israel, looking into innovation. There's a very large presence of multinational companies and also of medium-sized players in Israel looking for open innovation. And in that sense, we at the Economic Commission of Israel in Spain, as well as other colleagues around the world, what we do is try to create a win-win with the corporates and with the open innovation teams and offer them free scouting, free introduction to the startups with a view in mind that they receive, you know, an exposure to the right kind of technology that they're looking for and kind of solutions. And we give the startups, the Israeli startups, access to market because we're a small country and we desperately need the access to market that the global corporates are offering. This is from the open innovation side. From the startup side, there are several programs going in Israel right now, mostly run by or initiated by the foreign countries themselves, countries like Spain and Australia and other countries in the world, where foreign startups from all over the world come to Israel to experience the ecosystem, to learn, to train, and to get access. And this is something that, you know, is very, very useful for startups from all over the world. One example is that Spain is doing it, ESEX with Red.S, which you had their president in the previous panel. They're doing it in Israel in collaboration with a hub called The Floor in FinTech. And I think it's really, really interesting, and it's a really good opportunity for Spanish startups, and they should look into that. So that's me.
Thank you very much, Liat. So we know all the opportunities we have in Israel, but also the Nordics represent a relevant market. We have Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden represented in the Nordics. Irene, tell us more about that, please.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me, Marisol. My great passion is to make a better world through partnerships, communities, and global ecosystems. In the Nordics, we have strong companies, best practices, and we represent 27 million people. The success criteria for us is to build a trustful ecosystem, bring the Nordics together, and connect globally to boost innovation. The elements for our work are: one, connecting the right people that are passionate, curious, willing to share, explore, and innovate together. Two, it is about raising awareness through insight and thought leadership to empower the partnerships within each sector, across sectors, and the borders in the Nordic countries. And the world-known Chris Skinner is a thought leader and chairman of the board. And then is the third element, that is about learning and curiosity that are critical values to build resilience and adaptability, with continuous connections, both physical and digital. We meet quarterly. And then last but not least, it's about a digital platform presenting common results, facilitated by the right people.
Really, it's interesting to see the dynamics in the Nordic panorama, and it's really interesting to see what we can learn from the Nordic ecosystem representing 27 million customers. And you know, 27 million doesn't seem that much when we travel all the way to Asia. So Paula, what do we see in Hong Kong?
Hi, thank you, Marisol. And it makes sense that I'm speaker number 4, because this is what startups do, right? They grow in their home country, then they grow in neighboring countries, and then they might make the jump to Asia. As we know, Asia has the fastest growing economies at the moment. And when you think Asia, I would like everybody to think also Hong Kong. Hong Kong is still a great place to have a regional Asia-Pacific hub, a gateway to China, and a beautiful market in itself. I've lived and worked around Asia myself, as you know, Marisol, for 6 years. It's a fantastic place. The vibrancy, the dynamics, the growth, hunger is fantastic. What do we have in Hong Kong? We have a very vibrant startup ecosystem. 35% of the startups in Hong Kong have foreign founders, so a very international environment. If you're in fintech, if you're also in innovation and technology, in creative industries, think gaming, think film industry, think digital marketing, Asia is really the place to go for scaling up, for that next level. I also want to say that it's a city where East really meets West, right? I've experienced that in the 6 years I've lived in the region. That's unbeatable. And needless to say, there is a good offering of capital, VCs, angel investors, also government programs, as well as incubators, often a very good first step. From the Invest Hong Kong office in Brussels, which I have the honor to head, we help companies from startups to multinationals from 12 countries in Europe, Spain amongst them. So I would say anybody who wants to know more, contact me, contact Marisol, and happy to help you with the start of your Asia adventure. Thanks.
Thanks, Paula. And you know, you talked about the globe. Kino, we need to also regret the loss and death of Kino, the great drawer. And he made so many drawings about the globe actually being round. It's become east. And we are really connected, as we can see today. We have 10 seconds per person. If you can finish with a tagline, a call to action, quick and engaging, please. Let's begin with Liat, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Well, a call to action for now, I would say relating to the COVID situation, for all the startups out there, your pitch has to be COVID relevant. It has to be relevant for this time, not just focus on post-COVID, but if you're looking to engage right now in business and you want to see it in the foreseeable future, my tip is have a pitch ready for now.
Perfect, Liat. Paula, please, your call to action.
I would, thank you. I would say expand your horizons, your personal horizons, your business horizons. Asia is open for business, and reach out to us and we can help.
Thank you, Paula. And Jude, you are going to do the close, the final thoughts?
No pressure. Okay, no, I think the biggest tip I can give is trust your gut instincts. I think your gut instinct never lies. You know, and it often rules what you think in your head. So I would say always go with how your gut feels when you're making decisions.
Perfect. So go global, connect, trust your instincts, and be COVID relevant. And of course, on behalf of Nordic Future Innovation, reach out to the Nordics, connect with the right kind of people, with the right kind of mindset. And babies, the world is ours. Let's keep connected, let's create value, and let's build bridges, as we should do, to really keep pace with innovation. Thank you very much.
Marisol, amazing. Thank you so much.
Great, huh?
What an interesting conversation. And what an amazing track. That's it. The whole track, investment, ecosystem, collaboration, everything that we're about here at South Summit.
Yes.
Amazing. Great job. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye.
Guys, that's the end of this track. ecosystem, investment, innovation, impact, all of these things that are so close to our heart at South Summit, because that's what South Summit is at the end of the day. We're a global platform for making connections to accelerate the pace of innovation. So thank you so much for being with us here today. That's a wrap from this track. Thank you.